Greetings to all of humanity. It's really a joy, it's a pleasure. It's always my honor to be greeting you and bringing this message of emancipation to you, whereby I'm pointing you to look inwardly to discover that your real identity is your divinity. And that is why I want to teach you today how you can live heaven and earth and how you can ask for anything that you want and it would be yours. So basically what I'm saying, you can manifest anything that you desire in life. But there are certain obstacles or stumbling blocks that are blocking most people. And I'm going to show you why. And I'm going to go into the Bible and show you what I am talking about. Okay? But of course, it would make sense if you have this Bible. Okay, which is my Bible, the 66 books of magic. Okay, the Overcomer's Bible. And in this Bible, Jesus has been omitted. And there's a blank space for you to write your name. Or you can write, I am. Because that is what I want to speak to you about. Your I amness. And how to come into the power of your I amness, which is your true self, your higher self, your Christ consciousness, and live a life of abundance and prosperity, because you've been given the key to abundance and prosperity. You've been given the key to the kingdom. So I'm going to share with you this parable that's in the Bible in Matthew chapter 16. Okay, let me just put on my glasses here. Okay, Matthew chapter 16. Okay, and most likely I'll be reading from, say, verses 13 to around verses 20. Okay, so it's Matthew 16 verses 13 to 20. Okay, and as I would have said before, in my Bible, the 66 books of magic, the Overcomer's Bible, the word Jesus is omitted and there's a blank space for you to write your name, or you can just write I am. Okay, because that's the name of God. I am, from generation to generation. It says here, when I am, or your name, whichever, came into the coast of Caesarea Philippi. Caesarea Philippi here is speaking of a dwelling place in mind, a dwelling place in consciousness. So many people believe it is speaking of some geographical, physical place. No, it is a psychological place. And it says here, he asked his disciples, saying, whom do men say that I, the Son of Man, am? Now, the first thing you need to know is that your disciples are your followers. And what follow you wherever you go. It is your own thoughts that follow you wherever you go. So you are the 13th one who have 12 discipline. 12 qualities, 12 powers, okay, and they all have their different meanings because they're just symbols, okay. So the disciples here, as I said before, is referring to your thoughts, and you would ask yourself the question saying, whom do men say that I, the Son of Man, am? Because you recognize something about yourself. You start to come into the sense of knowing who you are. And so you want to know how others think also, if they are seeing on the same level like you. Okay? And so when the answer comes to you, because you've asked the question, the universal question of life, who am I? You will realize that there are many who have many different beliefs about themselves. are many different concepts of themselves. And that's why he says here in 14, and they said, some say that thou art John the Baptist. So some people identify themselves with the outer man, John the Baptist, or the outer man, Elias, or Jeremiah, or one of the prophets. So everyone is giving himself a certain kind of identity. But we are seeing here, when you discover the I am, then you realize that we are all one. So you have to let go of false identification. Then he says here in 15, he said unto them is speaking of your thoughts, your disciples, your followers, okay? But whom say ye that I am? You see, that's the universal question of life. Who am I? Have you catch the mystery? I want to give you the key to the kingdom. I want to teach you how to live heaven and earth. But I want you to learn the greatest lesson of life. I want you to know who you are, because the only fundamental sin that there is in this world is not knowing who you are. And the reason for that is because we all have been born here in a state of amnesia, a state of forgetfulness. That's why no one can remember anything when they were 1 month old, or 6 months old, or 12 months old, or even 15 months old. They cannot remember anything because they were in a state of amnesia. So we all are born here in sin, which is ignorance. So we do not know who we are. And we have to ask the question, who am I? Because we want to know who we are. So teaching here of the universal question. Whom say ye that I am? This has been personal now. What do you say? What do you say of yourself? How do you see yourself? How do you value yourself? Because how you value yourself will mean how you value others and what they do. It will mean that you understand also the golden rule of life. Do unto others as you have them do unto you. Because you know who you are. And it is said here, there's a certain thought, a certain quality that will rise up in you. Name Simon Peter, who would answer you, because all of this is speaking about inner talking. You have an inner communication, because the kingdom of God is within you, okay? So he said, and Simon Peter answered and said, thou art the Christ, the Son of the living God. Thou art the Christ. No one can reveal that to you but yourself, because everything comes through perception. And God in man is man's imagination. For the eternal body of man is the imagination, and that is God himself, and there is no other God. And that is why everything in this world, it was false imagine, it was false a thought, it was false an idea, and everything else that ever going to be made, it had to first be a thought, it had to first be an idea. So you must discover your Christ self. To be the Son of the living God, you have to realize that God is within you. And you are the S-O-N who cannot exist unless there first be the S-U-N. Because you're told that the Lord thy God is a son, a S-U-N. And a shield and no good thing with you withhold from you. In Psalms 84:11. And then in Malachi again. In Malachi chapter 2. No, in Malachi chapter 4, and verses 2, it says that his son, the S-U-N, of righteousness shall arise in you with healing in his wings, The light that you will find in you, the light that you will discover in you, is what will bring true healing to you, true deliverance to you. And if you're delivered, you would definitely want to see others be delivered also. Because you will not have your light and put it under a bushel. You will let your light so shine before the world that they all may be able to see and glorify the God that they will see in you. Okay, so the Simon Peter is the faith that you must have in yourself, the belief you must have in yourself to know that thou art the Christ. So Christ is an experience. It's the experience of a higher self. You being the son of the living God is you recognizing that God is in you. You are just the house. You're just the temple. And I am, are your name. As I said, you can put it. Answered and said unto him. You're going to answer. Because only you alone can answer the question. Blessed art thou, Simon Bar-Jonah, for flesh and blood hath not revealed it unto thee. You cannot get this kind of revelation from the humanistic realm, from the outer animalistic realm where you're dwelling only in the five senses where you see, taste, touch, and smell alone. You have to start to live four-dimensionally. You have to start to live into the world of the unseen. You have to start to live from the invisible world. Because as it said, I think it's in St. John 4:24 wrong there, that did I worship God, must worship God in spirit and in truth, because God is a spirit. God is invisible. Is the invisible creative you I'm speaking about. I'm speaking about an energy, not a man in the sky. So you say that we say flesh and blood haven't revealed us to you. This didn't come from the third dimension. But my Father which is in heaven. Remember he says also that the Father is in the secret place and he must speak to the Father. That means that place of secret where you can speak to the Father is within you. Which means heaven is within you and it is the higher place of consciousness. It's the higher place of dwelling. It's the higher place of experience. Because your spirit having a human experience, you're having this human experience from a very high level of consciousness, a high level of awareness. So to be in touch with the Father in heaven is to be in touch with the higher self, your inner self, through meditation, through visualization, through affirmation, scripting, all these things, through mirror work. And then the right kind of thoughts will come to you, that you say the right things to yourself and you act the right way. Then it says here in 18, and I say unto thee, thou art Peter, and upon this rock, yeah, you're the rock of faith. Upon this rock, this solid objectified fact, I will build my church upon the evidence. Remember, results don't tell lie. When you manifest your desire and it hardens into fact, no one can tell you otherwise. So I will build, this is where I will build my church. And the gates of hell shall not prevail against it. Hell here speaking of your lower self will never prevail against your higher self, because you realize that this body is built upon the intelligence from above, the intelligence of the head. This church is led and guided by the head, the high priest, your Christ self, your higher self, your right state of mind. Upon this rock of revelation of who I am, this rock of self-knowledge, this rock that leads you to know that your real identity is your divinity, this fact I am speaking about. This is where I build my church, the dwelling place of the intelligence that can create all things. And he said the gate of hell, no negative thinking, no energy of fear. These things will never prevail against one who understands how the minds work and who is in control of his mind and hold himself responsible for his thoughts and his actions. And he do not have to blame any enemy or any deity outside of himself. He realized that he's responsible for everything that's happening in his life, because man is not the victim of circumstances. No, sir. Circumstances are the creation of man. Man created them. Therefore, man can change his situation to how he wants it to be. He can change his circumstances to how he wants it to be. That's why I say hell shall not prevail against it, because hell is when you're living in the lower place of consciousness, at a very low state, vibrating at a very low place of frequency. That's when you're vibrating very, very low, living down in the gutter. He said, and I will give unto thee the keys of the kingdom of heaven. So see, you can never receive the key to heaven, which is the higher place of consciousness, until you realize that the kingdom of God is within you. And you cannot know that until you know yourself, you know who you are. You must know that you are the I am that I am. Which is to say, I am whatever I believe myself to be. For as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. So he said, and I will give unto thee the keys of the kingdom of heaven. Now you're told in Matthew 6:33 that you must seek it first the kingdom of heaven and his righteousness, and all these things will be added unto you. This is the same thing right here. Say, when you discover the kingdom of heaven, okay, then you will discover the creator. And when you discover the creator, you will discover also the creative power, because you discover the secret of creation. Therefore, you'll be able to create your reality consciously. That is why you can speak your life how you want it to be. That's why the Bible says you shall decree a thing, and it shall come to pass. He said you shall call those things that be not as though they are, and they will come forth. Habakkuk chapter 2 tells you, when you have a vision, when you have a dream, when you have a goal, when you visualize something, that you must make sure that you write it down. And you must be definite about it. And know that it is for a certain time. It is for an appointed time. But you must wait, because you're walking with the law. And everything is governed by law. We are governed by divine laws. The laws that governs all of humanity. And the laws that governs all of the universe. That is why I'm saying to you that we are one. There's no separation. Here in the scripture, not speaking of a separated one 2,000 years ago with special powers. No, it is all about you. It is all about discovering your Christ self, your higher self, which is your God self. And you realize that you're the church. Because God do not dwell in temples made of hands. You're the real temple that carrying this intelligence that can create all things. Okay? So do not make self-doubt and all negative things prevail against you. He said, and I will give unto thee the keys of the kingdom of heaven, and whatsoever thou shalt bind on earth shall be bound in heaven, and whatsoever thou shalt loose on earth shall be loosed in heaven. So in whatever you say, in whatever you declare, showing you that our power has been given unto you. That is why you must come to realize that when he says that with God all things are possible, then he come back again and he says, if thou canst believe, all things are possible to them that believe. All along it is saying that you must believe in yourself. You must trust in that power that is within you, that power that you can use to achieve your every desire. That is what he's speaking about here. So whatever you lose will be loosed, and whatever you bound will be bound, because why? You have the authority. You come to realize that you're the Lord and Master of your destiny. You come to realize it is your own thoughts that are creating your personality. Because you understand, hey, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. you realize that thoughts become things. You realize that we become what we think about, and you become more responsible for your thoughts. You become more responsible for your action. You realize that the Bible is a book of mind science. You realize it's all about the mind. You realize no book can be written unless it was first mental or first psychological. It had to first be a thought. It had to first be an idea in someone's mind. You realize that people who believe that the Bible is literal and believe that the Bible is secular history, they cannot tell you of one thing that was done in the Bible from the beginning to the ending of the Bible that wasn't first a thought, or first mental, or first psychological. And there's nothing they can say to you or do to you that must not first be a thought, or first be mental, or first be psychological. If it was literal, then they're going to take literal water and turn it into wine, or they could have walked on literal water, or they could have do all of these things literally. But no. It's all symbolic. So you've been given the keys to the kingdom. So all power has been given unto you. Everything already has been created. It is you who have to have the belief within yourself that you can have it. You who have to have the belief in yourself that you can be whatever you want to be. And you can do whatever you want to do and go wherever you want to go. And you can live heaven right here on earth. Because heaven is within you. And hell is within you too. And it all have to do with your mindset. How you see yourself. How you think about yourself. How you value yourself. What concept do you hold about yourself? How high is your self-esteem? How high is your self-confidence? Wow. You have the power. The keys have been given to you if you have answered the question of who you are. And you believe in your God self. You believe that you are God in flesh. You believe you can achieve anything that you put your mind to. You believe that abundance is your birthright. You believe that it is your right to live in abundance and prosperity. You believe it is your right to live a good life. Yeah. You believe that you are an overcomer. Once you can cultivate all these kind of positive belief system within you, okay, and you're willing to reprogram your subconscious mind because you're willing to unlearn and relearn. You're willing to start over because you realize that you were brainwashed and everything that you were told from a child, it was a lie. And you're now willing and ready to make that first footstep forward to discovering your higher self, your abundant self. If you're willing to do that, I'm saying to you, do not be afraid, because the keys have been given to you as long as you answer the question, who am I? And you say, I am the Christ, the Son of the living God. As long as you claim your true identity, all belongs to you. Bring the robe, bring the ring, kill the fatted calf. This is my son. He was dead, but now he's alive. He was blind, but now he could see. This is a man coming to know his true identity to be his divinity. One who comes to understand that the Bible adjusts the human mind and must be interpreted psychologically. It's all a great psychological drama. Then charge he his disciples, verses 20, that they should tell no man that he was I am the Christ. Don't go telling no man because it doesn't make sense. You're talking. No. Live the life. Live like a God. Create like a God. Do everything like a God. And let your life be the speaking. Let your life be the example. Let your words be the real gospel, which is the good spell, because they see the manifestation. So, when you say warn your disciples within your mind, you already know that you do not have to tell anyone, because results don't tell lie. You see the changes in your life. You see what your life is bringing forth. You see the abundance that is coming forth. You see the great changes that would have taken place in your life. And you feel so good about life. For the first time, life have meaning for you. He says you come to that place, you charge your disciples, man. You become so disciplined in mind that you don't have to tell nobody, because you don't have to glory in the things. You don't have to tell them that I am the Christ. You don't have to tell them. You don't have to tell them you are the Christ. You don't have to brag. You do not have to boast. You do not have to prove anything to anyone, because your life is right there for everyone to see. You're living a life of transparency. You're using your ability to help, to uplift humanity. You're using your creativity to help to uplift humanity. You're living the life of the I am, and proving that whatever you ask I am for, you're going to get it. Because all things exist within you. All things exist in the human imagination. You can picture anything in your imagination. You can frame and shape anything in your imagination. You can print anything in your imagination. You can photograph anything in your imagination. You can smell in your imagination. You can touch in your imagination. You can taste in your imagination. You can have the kind of feeling that you desire in your imagination. All things are possible to those who tap into their imagination and live heaven and earth. Live heaven and earth. Dwell in the higher place of consciousness and stop living from down here. Be strong. Take hold of your Canaan land. Your birthright. Your I amness. Your I am consciousness. That's the power of knowing who you are. That's the power of knowing who am I. Who do men say I, the Son of Man, am? Do you realize that you are Son of Man? You are the chosen one out of millions and millions of sperm. You are chosen. You're the only begotten Son. For God so loved this world, your higher self. And that He gave who? You, this human experience. And He became you, having this human experience. Transmutation of energy. And you're having this human experience. But you must come back to a place of memory. And to come back to that place of memory, you have to know that you came here in amnesia. There must be a waking up. Awake, thou that sleepest, and you will find the light. That's what I'm saying. The light is within you. The kingdom is within you. So you can have anything that you desire in this world. You can be anything you want to be in this world. It's not about it's not all about education. It's not about your race. It's none of those things. It's all about the mind. Everything is mental, everything is psychological. You got to grab control of your mind. If you do not control your mind, someone will control your mind for you. So my brother and my sisters, many people read this story and fail to realize it's all a parable about yourself, your higher self, discovering your higher self, asking the question man. The universal question of life would always be, who am I? And when the answer comes, it will always be, I am. Yes. Who do men say? I, the Son of Man, am. It doesn't matter what other people have to say about you or what people think about you. It's about what you think about yourself. It's about how you see yourself. It's about what you're speaking in your life, what you're speaking over your life, what you're allowing in your life. It's not what goes into a man that defiles him, what comes out of a man that really defiles him. It's not what kind of diet you're eating, physically speaking, what kind of diet you're on, psychologically, mentally speaking, spiritually speaking. Everything is just a matter, it's just a matter of time. Because there's a lot of gestation. Sometimes we're just not ready for it yet. And so the universe just holding a little bit till when you're ready, because you see, it's like you can't take a little child and give a little child $1 million. You do all kind of foolishness with it. You understand? With great power comes great responsibility. You have to raise your vibration, raise your frequency, and your understanding. Everything must rise to another level for you to be able to deal with all the abundance and all the flow that will come into your life. Because, you know, you have to all be aware of the ego always there. Hell always want to prevail against you. So you have to always be reminded that you have to put that negative self under your feet. Put the devil, your lower self, under your feet, because you know your true identity. So my brother, my sisters, you know, let me just say as I come to close, many preachers would have struggled at this scripture and they come up with all different kind of interpretation for Peter and rock and what it really means and what it doesn't mean and all of that. But I'm saying to you, this body is what it's all about. It's all about the inner man and the outer man. Okay? It's all about the inner man and the outer man. Practice meditation. Practice visualization. Always remember everything in this world was first a thought, it was first an idea, it was first imagined. Everyone walks in this world for money. Whether you're a Christian or you're not a Christian, whether you're a Muslim, whoever. The medium of exchange is money, and money is energy. It was first a thought, it was first an idea, and it's been transmitted into form. So, my brothers and my sisters, if this is the very first time that you listen to me and what I'm saying, it makes sense to you, really resonates with you, and you haven't subscribed already, I encourage you to subscribe, to like, to comment, or to share this video. Also, if you'd like to follow me on Instagram, you can follow me on Instagram at BlackMadGuru. Also, if you'd like to check out some videos that I have on my Patreon that is not on my YouTube, you can be a part of my Patreon. I also have on my Patreon, for people who are donating a little bit more, okay, the inner sun science and technology to create your reality consciously, okay, which is the inner sun engineering to create your reality consciously. And that inner sun is that light that is within you. Okay, we are living in a time they want to dim the sun, they want to black out the sun. After they give you a S-O-N to believe in as the light of the world. But I'm saying to you, the sun, the S-U-N, is the light of the world. Okay? And you need to get in alignment with the sun. So you will get in alignment with your true purpose, your true calling. Okay? So, if there's any other way that you would like to support this work, we have a PayPal and the link is down below. Feel free to support this work if you really feel strongly led to do so. Everything must be done by the strong leading of your intuition. Okay, so with that being said, my brothers and my sisters, I want to say thank you very much. Peace, love you all. I'm out.